One of my recent videos, I talked about the importance of getting the right people on the bus and then getting them all in the right seats. But we also like to take this metaphor a bit further. Not only do you want to get the right people on the bus, you want to get the right people in the right seats exhibiting the right behaviour. To get this right behaviour, we use a model called the 5 Behaviours of a Cohesive Team, based on a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. Highly effective teams can become one of the strongest competitive advantages that an organisation can build. When you can manage to turn your human capital into your organisation's competitive advantage, you'll have the strongest competitive advantage possibly available. If you can get a few 5, 10 or 20 teams in an organisation past all the drama, politics and waste of energy, that's a tremendous competitive advantage. The 5 behaviours allows you to discuss what's going on and put an action plan into place. Welcome to Summit Scale, where high achiever owner managers come to learn how to build their small businesses into successful companies. So let's take a look at the 5 Behaviours model. First, let's look at trust, the bottom tier of the framework. Trust is when team members are genuinely transparent and honest with one another. It's vulnerability based. Trust is the first and foundational behaviour of cohesive teams. Trust requires being vulnerable with one another and being honest enough to admit your mistakes and weaknesses. It's being able to say things like, hey, I need help, or I'm struggling with this, or I'm sorry. One of the ways we can build trust is to get to know each other better. And often we spend 8 or 9 hours a day with the people on our teams, but yet we struggle to find a genuine connection or understanding of our co-workers. So within this approach, we use specific exercises to build this foundational trust. Next, let's look at conflict, the second tier of the 5 Behaviours framework. When team members are able to trust each other, they are able to engage in healthy conflict without the fear of interpersonal issues getting in the way and damaging relationships. There's an unfiltered, constructive debate of ideas, and it's your job as the leader to search for healthy conflict in your team. The next behaviour of cohesive teams is commitment, the third tier of the 5 Behaviours framework. When team members are able to offer opinions and debate ideas, they'll be more likely to commit to decisions. It's not unusual for teams to have really unproductive discussions about an idea or project, and everyone leaves the meeting without a clue what the next steps are. Basically, you can disagree all you want, but the goal is to have enough healthy conflict that at the end of the meeting, all parties, whether they totally agree or not, buy into the idea or decision and commit to it. And this commitment allows teams to move into the behaviour called accountability, the 4th tier of the 5 Behaviours framework. When everyone is committed to a clear plan of action, they will be more willing to hold one another accountable. Most often this happens through giving feedback. Now, feedback is a gift, but it's often the gift wrapping, or in other words, obstacles get in the way. The feedback is delivered get in the way of receiving the feedback. In other words, some people don't like feedback because of how the other person gives it, or they give some of these common objections. It's my manager's job to give feedback, not mine. It's not my place to criticize anybody. Once your team is engaged in the 5 Behaviour model, you'll be able to set up norms and discuss what both acceptable and unacceptable feedback looks like. You give and get permission to approach each other. It's the ability to give this feedback openly that fosters accountability in a group. And this behaviour, holding each other accountable by giving and receiving feedback in a healthy manner, allows teams to move into the behaviour called results, the 5th tier of the 5 Behaviours framework. For a team to excel, all members must be willing to put the team's goals ahead of any individual goals, and this is how teams get results. There are only some of the things you would expect to see from a team that is working together to produce results. Each of these things, avoiding distractions, celebrating success, etc., is a deliberate choice made by the team. It requires discipline and persistence to focus on collective results, but the payoff can be big. So that's the model. Again, it works because it's simple and sticky. It gives teams a common language and process to talk about team issues. If you have any questions on this, book a complimentary 15-minute call with me at timewithshane.com. In those 15 minutes, we'll find out if you are good to go on your own or if you could use some help. I'm Shane Spears of Summit Scale. See you next time.